Never, not once, not one single time in my life have I ever been out in public, in town or whatever, and had a coughing fit, and be coughing and then collapsed to my knees with my hands on the floor, coughing, and then coughing up blood, and have everyone around me being all worried and like, oh shit, what's going on? Is this guy, what's wrong? Oh my god! And then I collapse, I black out, and then I wake up on some mysterious bed, either in someone's home or like a hospital bed, or even in some dank, vacant, dirty bathroom, chained to a radiator with a saw several feet away from. Never, not once has that happened, and every day I wake up with the knowledge that that's never happened, and in all likelihood won't ever happen, and that's sad, and it makes me sad to think that you know, like, what's the point in carrying on if I'm never gonna cough up a lung in public and collapse and black out and then wake up somewhere else as like the start of a story arc, the start of a game, a quest, something. But then I never leave the house anyway, so how's that gonna happen? I mean, I say that I did. I went to the post office today. That was fun and exhilarating. Oh, love me some post office. Gotta love the post office, especially after the whole debacle of the international mailing system fuck up that they had, and now they're supposedly sorting it out so you can, but they, as of yet, have yet to. You can't do international postage on the self-service checkouts, and now, because of the issues they had, they have to put in loads of extra information when dealing with international orders, which means I have to take my international orders to the desk at the post office. I can't just do them on my own, which I normally do, which I know how to do it. I do it quickly and efficiently without bothering other people, without waiting in lines. It's easy. Now I can't. Now I have to take it to the desk, fill out all the customs forms, give them to the person. The person has to input loads of information, do them one at a time. If they're a particularly slow person or whatever, then it takes them longer. And it's just a fucking Hey, hello! Welcome to the show, you lovely people. I love you all. Let's all get together and have a big hug. Let's have a what are the furries they call it? A fur pile. Let's have a fur pile. Yeah, let's all get together, get in a pile, and roll around, rubbing on each other, making purring sounds and stuff and such and stuff. Come on, let's do it. It's probably actually really fun being a furry. Like, the sense of community and just like love and enjoyment is probably amazing. It's just it's always fucking weirdos that do it. I'm going to get into some very judgmental ground here. In my experience, furries are never just people that you can just be like, oh, Darren, you alright? How's it going? Yeah, not bad, chilling. It's always people that are like, oh, cuckoo, ewu, people. That's incredibly judgmental of me, but that's just been my experience of it. I have some furry friends, and some of them are alright. Some of them aren't annoying as shit. I honestly think it's probably amazing being a furry and being a part of that community. That's where I'll leave. Beverage of the week, squiddly peebly poo. It's cereal milk. Wow, remember that? Remember when because I had my Cocoa Pops and the milk turns all chocolatey, and then you get this, and that's the best part of having a chocolatey cereal, a nice healthy chocolate crunchy milky chocolate treat in the mornings. It's the best bit. It's the milk afterwards. So that's the Is it all syrupy at the bottom? Kind of, not really. That's our beverage of this week. Beverage of the week. Cereal milk. Down the hatch, as they might say. That was actually a bit better than I was expecting it to be. I think maybe because I let it sit for a minute or two before ingesting it, maybe. Because I've had it, a couple of days and it's been not so great. Do you know, one I did some time ago, this is at university, because I knew I liked cereal milk so much, because it's the best part of the cereal, is the cereal milk you get at the end. I wonder if it's good just like on its own as like a standalone drink. And so I had one of those little, like a little pint plastic bottle of milk that I had used for the cereal, and I emptied it, washed it out, and then over several days I'd have my cereal. I had Weetos, chunky, crunchy, chocolatey Weetos, and then the milk that was left in the bowl, like I just had, I'd pour into this pint milk bottle, and I think it was 3 or 4 days. I did that and saved it up, so I had a pint of cereal milk, which is, the cereal milk. Oh, I forgot his tongue. Shit. God damn it. Did I draw it? Of course I drew it. Oh, fuck. I'll Tipex that out. It sucked. That's the ultimately, it fucking blew. It was bland. It didn't taste chocolatey. It didn't even taste like milk. Little bits of grit in it from like the little crunchy Cheeto debris, detritus. And it was a bit sickly, not sickly sweet, but just sickeningly like, ugh, this isn't the tasty treat I'd hoped it would be. So I regret that. That's a regret I'll carry to my grave. If I'm on my deathbed and they say, "Oh, what of it? How was life? Do you have any regrets?" And I'll say, "Yes, I certainly do." And they'll say, "Oh, what? Talk about them now and get it like clean your conscience or whatever. Go to deathland with a clean, mental slate. Tell us about your regrets." And then I'll relay that the cereal milk pint bottle story, and the people will say, "Oh God, you should regret that, you fucking weirdo. Why would you think that would be good? That's weird. Fucking weird fuck." But then that's me all over, innit? A big weird fucker. Hey, Ewan, you fucking... you big weird piece of shit. You should die quicker for that. You should you should develop... You should move up a stage in cancer. If you're given stage 3 cancer, like they just hand it out, you should go straight to stage 4. Do not pass go. Do not collect £200. Straight to cancer jail for your heretical use of fucking cereal milk. That's the story of milk and cereal and all of the bits in between. Today's episode is dedicated to the guy who sent me a shitload of... I can't stress this enough. He's a follower and a sort of, seen him about on the Instagram and, not really interacted with him, but I was sort of aware of him existing. Just about. And but I cannot stress that... Not like a friend, not someone I regularly speak to, just a guy who saw fit to send me a whole load of slightly drunken voice messages on Instagram. I posted something, like a part of my Judge Dredd strip in my story, and he sent me loads of voice notes saying, more Judge Dredd, 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 more Judge Dredd. Definitely have to see you draw more Judge Dredd. I love Judge Dredd, more Judge Dredd, more Judge Dredd. And then he sent a few slightly more coherent, thought out messages after that. I was, it threw me for a loop because I'm, not used to voice messages from random, because voice messages is quite a, to me at least, not a personal thing, but you don't really just, I assume no one wants to hear my voice unless they're like choosing to. I wouldn't just randomly send a voice message to someone. He says recording his voice, but then, like I say, you're choosing to listen to it. It's just an odd thing to randomly send a person a bunch of voice messages. But he was very kind and more or less polite. And I'm not upset ultimately. I was just a bit surprised to have received the voice messages in the first place. But the content of them was acceptable, and it wasn't, See, because some people, they send me messages, and because I swear a lot, they think it's like fine and ordinary to swear at me in a message, not a voice message necessarily, but just a message, just to send me a message being like, hey Ewan, love your art, you prick. Hey Ewan, you piece of shit. Eat a cock, you fuck ass. And that, almost hurts my feelings. Because, I start my podcast as hey, what's up, pricks? Hey, every shithead fucklord. I hope you're all fat and gay watching this. In a good way. I hope you're all living an enjoyable, hedonistic lifestyle of sex with whichever gender you like to have sex with, or genders that you like to have sex with, and that you're indulging in delicious treats and food and drink. So be fat, be gay. I don't say fat and gay so what's up, you fucking big pieces of shit, eat my ass, fuckheads. Yeah, sometimes I'll have my podcasts in that kind of vein, but I never actually mean it like that. And then when people send me messages being like, hey Ewan, you fuckface, you dick mouth shit sucking fart egg, why don't you piss all the way off, and don't stop pissing off, piss all the way off until you're dead, you fuck. Then I get those messages and I feel a bit like, oh, you don't have to, It's the same thing of like, if you're with a group of friends and you're making fun of one of the friends who is maybe he's short, and you go, tiny little penis, Peter with the no penis. Apparently his name's Peter and he's got a tiny little penis. Because he's tiny, you assume his penis would match the rest of his stature, or lack thereof, and would be tiny. And then if somebody from outside your friend group tries to join in and goes, yeah, Peter, you short person, you and the people in the group almost always will have the right to turn around and be like, oi, leave him alone. He's fucking cool. He's a sound guy, and you don't get to call him short, you fuck. He's our friend. We're messing around, so it's within our allowance to fuck with him and call him short and whatnot. It's not yours. It's not your place to do that, because you haven't earned that. You're not his friend. You're not part of the gang. So you get it. So it just feels a bit like that. Like, I say all this shit and I'm mean and funny, hilarious all of the time. This feels full, but I don't know if it'll work because it's been sitting in there for God knows how long. And you can't just show up out of nowhere and call me swear words. You got to be kind, you got to be polite. There it is. Hopefully this will fucking work. Oh, seems to be really, really good actually. I've been using this for so long. It's like using it like this, squeezing the fucking life out of it just to get the last bits of Tipex out. And I've got like 2 or 3 full ones just sitting there doing nothing. Fucking turd. That's what happens when you grow up poor, and you fucking squeeze every last bit out of the tube, toothpaste, whatever, paint, Tipex, cum, a tube of cum. I'll have a good tube of cum, a cum tube. Brand new Ewan's cum tubes coming to you, coming in you. Pew, 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 pew. Sponsored by Ewan's cum tubes. So this episode's dedicated to him because he said George Judge Dredd or more Judge Dredd, more 2018, more Judge Dredd, more Judge Dredd, more Judge Dredd. But then he also went on and on about, oh, you're Judge Death. Oh, you're Judge Death drawn by you. It looks so good. You fucking George Judge Death. Oh, I love him so much. Oh, you are so good. George Judge Dredd, Judge Death, and the other judges. The other dead judges, whatever they're called, the other ones. Draw all of them. Oh, it's so good. Oh, fucking piece of shit. Oh, God. I'm not going to name him and shame him. For one thing, I neglected to go back and find out his name because I forgot his name. Because the problem is knowing everyone by their Instagram names. I forget them all because I've got so many followers. But also, I wouldn't say his name anyway because I don't know if he wants to be. Because it might be embarrassing to. I joked with him that I was going to record those voice messages and play them on the podcast, which would be kind of funny. Let's be honest, that would be if the intro to the episode was just his voice notes going, "Draw Judge Dredd, draw Judge Dredd. Oh, you are so good. You should draw more Judge. Definitely draw more Judge Dredd. And Judge Death, you should draw Judge Death. You're Judge Death by you. Would look really, really cool." Open the episode like that and everyone would be like, what? What is happening? And then I say, hey, these are messages from this person. Here's their name. This is their Instagram name. This is where they live. This is their mother's maiden name and their pet's name and their childhood best friend and all those funny password questions. So I'm drawing Judge Death in honour of that man. If you're watching, you know who you are. You know who you are. Yeah, I forgot your name because I am, in fact, a big piece of shit. But this is something I'm thinking about making a post about this. I'll probably do it as a hilarious comic or something, like a comic strip you can swipe through on Instagram. I don't know if you can see, there's a little fly flying around. If he shows up, leave a comment and say, I saw him, I saw the fly. The thing I'm going to maybe make a comic about, or some kind of post or something, is the fact that I am not a business owner. A lot of people who you do the self-employed thing and they're creative. Maybe they sew like stuffed toys, or they make jewelry, or they do this or they do that. And they'll say, as a small business owner, I have to rely on the thing and the thing. This video is sponsored by that one that does postage and shit. Buy your stamps online, and then it takes care of all your shit in one place. As an online seller, I have to think about all my shit and pull it out. I am not a business owner at all. I'm not a small business owner. I'm not a business. I'm not a anything like that. I am a guy. I'm just a guy, and I sit and I draw shit and I paint sometimes, and sometimes I make those things into books and stuff and prints or whatever. I send them out and people buy them. So all the time, please, I know most of you are cool with it and it's fine, but you have to keep that in mind that, like, if I get behind on orders, which happens, sadly, it happens, or if I miss something, if I forget a thing, or if I slip up in some way, I make a mistake, you have to bear in mind I'm not a business owner. I'm not a business person. I have no head for business. I am bad at the business side of things. Believe me, I am bad at it. I do what I can and I try, especially with like orders and stuff. But every now and again, I fuck up and I apologise as much as I can, and I will, like if a package gets lost in the post, I'll send another one free of charge. I won't charge extra shipping or whatever, and I'll usually include some like extra shit, some little prints or stickers or whatever I've got lying around, an original sketch or something in with the new order to apologise for the delay or whatever. And there have been times where I've just like straight up forgotten to send something, and then I get a message from the person months later being like, I ordered this months and months ago, where the fuck is it? Although sometimes they're really nice, and I've had some recently that have even said, I'm really embarrassed to ask you, like, I don't want to bother you about it, and I'm sorry to have to send this message, but like I did order a thing and it didn't show up, and I really do appreciate the people being that kind, but I say to them, like, every now and again, I don't want to be hassled, but every now and again I do need a nudge just to be like, where the fuck is the thing I ordered? Because I'm just a person, and so I apologise if I slip up, but I'm only human. Sadly, much to my eternal dismay, my chagrin, I am in fact a human. It sucks. I'd rather not be. There's about 1,000 things I'd rather be than a fucking human, but I am one, and am therefore open to making mistakes as a human might. And I say that purely to defend myself, for I forget people's names quite a lot. It's in one ear, out the other a lot of times, you know what I mean? But that is a genuine thing. Like, I'm really bad with remembering names. Especially if I only interact with the person like once or twice. My brain obviously doesn't assume it needs to remember the person's name. Especially if their name's like Cornhole Dogman 4000X on Instagram, and I'm there like, oh cool, it's this guy. Or sometimes people have just unpronounceable collections of letters and numbers, even if they're not spam accounts or bot accounts, and it's just like, I'm trying to interact with you, but who are you? What are you? So all of that is to say, sometimes I don't remember everyone's names, and I apologise for that. I'm only fucking human. Oh, it's one of those times again where there's nothing else going on, so I'm going to look at my own. I'm going to bend over. I'm going to arch my back as much as I can, take these ribs out like that Marilyn Manson urban legend, and suck my own dick, blow myself, and look at my own art and go, oh, look how good I am, look how fucking good I am. Aren't I the bee's knees? The bees sneeze. That's how bees sneeze. I'm finally, after the aforementioned Royal Mail fucking issues with all of their shit, it took me a while to keep on top of orders, because I had to wait for a period of time. I just couldn't send anything internationally. I just wasn't allowed. And so then there was a period where I wasn't sure if I could or not. I didn't know how the system worked. And so it's taken me a while. And that was with, new orders coming in. I could have closed my shop down or whatever, but it's just a fucking hassle. So I am now I'm done. Orders, I've cleared my to-do list in terms of orders, and I've caught up with orders. And quite a few people ordered this. Among other things, I've got a few comics for sale on my website. And yeah, quite a few people have been ordering this lately. So that's been cool. And maybe in the last year, I've sort of thought back to this comic and gone, it was like fun at the time, but it's sort of meh. It's a bit meh, ultimately. And so just the other day, I was wrapping up orders, and I had another look through this, and I was like, that's actually quite good. That's not bad. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. All things considered, that's pretty good. Yeah. As literally always, every single thing can always be improved in some kind of way after the fact. You're always able. Oh, your hindsight's 2020. You're always able to go back and go, no, I would have changed this, change that, do this different, do that. But ultimately, you did the thing, you made a thing, and then that's full stop on that. And then you go on to the next one. You hit enter, return, you could drop down a paragraph, and you start a new paragraph. See, computer lingo, QWERTY, processing units, RAM, gigabytes, all the parts to the... I googled GUNVIKING just because I was curious the other day. This is one of the... Not this specific comic, but GUNVIKING as a whole. My GUNVIKING is pretty much the main thing that comes up. But also, there's one of the other main things is a guy... I assume he's like of Nordic descent or something, or he just likes Vikings. I've not really paid much attention to him or what he does, but who likes guns and makes videos about guns, like shooting guns and ammo and stuff. And he calls himself GUNVIKING as one word, which is a bit annoying. I don't want to go into copyright and start to deal with all that shit because fuck it. But it's a bit annoying that he is Googleable with my GUNVIKING. And like I've said before, IRL, I hate guns. I hate that they exist, and they're a fuck. And then you've got this guy, and then I make a comic called GUNVIKING and wonder why, when you Google it, a guy who likes guns comes up. And it's just a little bit annoying that like you Google my comic and there's this guy going, yeah, these are the best guns for this and the best guns for that, and it's just like, they're death machines. What are you doing? Anyway, wow. Mr. I Hate Intros spends 5 minutes talking about fucking shit. There's a hair was on the scanner and it got on the print. If you're unaware, there might be people watching who don't know what the hell this is. This is a comic I made. It's a 24-hour comic of GUNVIKING. Not last year, but the year previous to that, which would be 2021? Yeah, 2021. There you go. This comic was drawn, pencils and inks, between 10 a.m. September 6th and 10 a.m. September 7th, 2021. One page every hour for 24 hours, start to finish. It's like a challenge thing that exists, like online or out in the world, where people, creators and whoever, do a 24-hour comic. There's a few different versions, but one in particular is you do a page every hour for 24 hours to make a full comic. Some big-name professional artists have tried and failed. But I tried first time and did it. I sat down and it was September 6th, my birthday, for those who give a shit. Oh, 1 second. Nope, it's all right. See, because it's happened before where there's been a knock at my door while I'm recording and I thought that was happening, but it's just someone hammering because they're like fixing shit. Well, that interrupted the flow of things, didn't it? Jesus. Okay. It's really distracting, and now I'm like, is it someone at the door? No, it's hammering. It's all good. It was my birthday, and I thought, what shall I do for my birthday? I know I'll do a 24-hour comic, so I got up bright and early. It's really distracting. The hammering is really distracting me. Got up bright and early, had everything prepared. I think technically one of the rules of the 24-hour comic is you're supposed to come up with everything on the spot. However, I did thumbnails previously, which I don't know if you're supposed to do, but fuck it. So I had the whole comic thumbnailed, ready to go, and then I drew it from start to finish from 10 a.m. And I made a video. There's a video on here somewhere. Maybe I'll link it. Shall I link it? I'll link it in this description. I'll link it in the description, and... you know, so I'll just go. So the comic is GUNVIKING. Blah 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 blah. Keep in mind, each page drawn in a single hour, so it's not necessarily the best. Plum, plef, plef, pluff. Giant cyclops, all the guns, bullets are just going plep, plep, plop off of him. GUNVIKING's here, like, oh shit, and the cyclops raises his club and smack. He swings and smack, and GUNVIKING goes poof into the ground, poof, sliding like. Poof. And then he's getting up, huff, 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 angry face. Bang, bang, bang. He's shooting. Poo, 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 poo. Plah, plah, poo. I like this. This is a good panel. His big Cyclops nipples, his big face, and then he's all evil laughing because the bullets are doing shit all to him. And he's running and gunning. Shells flying everywhere. And then he looks up and he's like, oh shit. And the Cyclops' foot is up and it's crashing down and he's in shadow. Oh no. Ba-doom! And then blackness. And then he wakes up as the blackness dissipates and he sees a face, which is this child's face. And he's on the ground with her feet there. Not everything's as clear as I wanted it to be. That's one of the parts where I'm like, oh, I could have made this clearer or whatever. But he's laying on the ground, rolls over, and the child pats him on the head. And then the child's taking him along with goats in the background. Let's go as they're walking along. Points to the houses. Let's go to the village. There's a frog. And then he's in the village, standing there, the big brute he is. Everyone's milling around, looking over their shoulders like, oh, what the fuck is this guy? There's a cat on a leash. And they're all like, oh, a big strong man. Ooh. And then he turns his head and he sees this guy in the shadow and he's like, who the fuck is that? And it's some old fuck. And he goes, come on, come into this building here. And so he's in there, he's got his feet in a little like bowl. They're tending his wounds, washing him and wrapping him in bandages and shit. And he says, this village elder says, the one-eyed giant has troubled us for generations. His ability to absorb attacks makes him near invincible, as you have seen. But I have a reason to believe you will have more luck next time. You should pay our shaman a visit. There's skulls on the walls and shit. So he says you should pay our shaman, and then there's like the tent, the shaman's tent. Who's this guy? What's his fucking deal? And then ostensibly, what the fuck does that mean? Okay, Google, what does ostensibly meaning? As appears or is stated to be true, though not necessarily so. So apparently, yeah. So ostensibly, it appears or is stated to be true. These are the hands of the shaman. And he says, look into the bones and see. And I've written it in such a way that it's like it comes across different to the regular speech because he's a shaman. He speaks a bit weird. Your coming was foretold, Viking. You are here for a reason. I'll just read it normally, but look at it. The text is cool. So he's throwing like animal bones on the floor and he's being like, hey, your coming was foretold. You're here for a reason. Look into the bones and see. And he looks into the bones and he's like, not sure I get it. Here, points the shaman. Here is your power. He circles it in the sand. A witch that can grant you the strength you need. Atop the needle she dwells. Find her and find your way forth. And the shaman's got some weird head face mask on or something, covering his eyes. How does he see? I don't know. And then the vision of this giant stone needle higher than a mountain. It is time, Viking. We will help you prepare. And he's like, ooh, what the fuck are you talking about? The elder there. We have supplies enough for the journey there and back. They're getting him all set up with a big backpack with a sleeping roll and all the shit he needs. And a map to guide you. There's the kid from earlier with a big map. And she rolls it up and hands it to him. And you can see on the map he's got to travel through like all these different areas. There's an alligator, some mountains and hills and shit. There's a treasure chest. Maybe there's treasure. That's where he's got to go. Safe travels, Viking. Odin be with ye. See, that's like a Viking thing, isn't it? So he's walking away. The cat there, like, what the fuck's going on? But these people are like, oh, a bit worried. A bit like, oh shit, oh god. Oh. Don't know if he's going to be okay. That's dangerous. Ooh. So he travels. He climbs the rocks. He rides the boar. This could be drawn a bit better. It could be drawn a bit clearer. He walks through the winds and the tundra and he beats the enemies along the way. Dead goblins and shit, beheaded foes. Again, drawn in an hour, so you know, give it a bit, give it. Just keep that in mind. And then he gets to the needle in the clouds around it, looking up at the needle, and then he gets his climbing, his pickaxe tool, and clanks it into the rock. I really like this pose. I might draw this bigger and better because that's cool. And he starts his climb up the needle to the hole atop the needle, hanging off, climbs up inside, and he's like, all right, now what? And then there's a weird thing. I don't know how clear this is either. This is Gunviking with his shadow here, and then a thing watching him, and the thing in the shadows with claws coming up behind him. And he goes, oh, what the fuck's that? Pulls his gun, and there's a face, and he's got his gun pointed at this fucking thing, the witch atop of the needle. Viking, I've been expecting you. You are strong, but lacking. There is power within you, and power without. You are here for a reason. So I hear. See, he's like sarcastic. He's like, yeah, they say that. I keep being told, you're here for a reason. I like the design personally. I quite like my design of this weird spider-like witch with these long, spindly legs hiding in corners and shit. She's got like some rags hanging from her neck, a few hairs. I'm happy with the design of that. This is pretty cool. Please, this way. Place your hands into the vessel and draw the power you seek. There's some cauldron. Oh, look at a funny little smiley face. Puts his hand in the cauldron. Spiders crawling up his legs. Oh no! God, something's happening. God, what's going on? Oh, it's all a bit weird. Wibbly wobbly. Do not try to control the power, and be careful not to let the power control you. I don't feel anything. Not yet, but you will when the time comes. Now, go! And she boots him out. Pew! As he's the clouds and the needle, he's been kicked out. And then back to action. Bang, 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 bang. John Wick, eat your fucking heart out. Bah, bah, bah. Cyclops arm, punch, pap. Oh, smacks Gunviking. Clear, cold cut across the bonce, laying out with his bum in the air. Ooh. He gets up, he grits his teeth, the eye of the Cyclops. He's about to grab him, and Gunviking's getting his power ready, but he gets swiped up and thrown into the Cyclops' mouth. Oh my god, oh, he's in the blackness. And the Cyclops is all like, you fucker, I got you now. But then his mouth's bulging out, and then his teeth fly out. Gunviking, Viking with a gun. Gunviking. A gun, or not actually with a gun, but with 4 arms. Oh my god, that's his power. See, because it's like spider-like kind of power. Extra legs, extra arms, extra power, extra arms, extra power, extra guns. Click, clack, clack, click. 4 arms, 4 guns. This is quite cool. This is really cool. I love this panel. I might paint this panel as a separate thing. And maybe this one as well, because this one's quite cool. But yeah. Guns, shells, fucking... I'm spitting everywhere. Shooting at the Cyclops again with the power of extra arm guns. Riddling him full of holes. Enough bullets to tear him apart. His head comes off, his arm comes off. I like this panel as well. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. And everyone's happy. The village celebrates. Hooray, hooray. Flowers and confetti. Yeah, you did it, Gunviking. You fucking did it, smiley man. Viking, may the gods bless you as you have blessed us. The elder takes his hand. And then this bitch has got a... Bitch, that's a bit unnecessary. This lovely lady has got a nice flowery... not a wreath, but like, you know, one of them things, like a flower necklace thing. Puts it on him and he's all like, hooray, hooray. And then he's happy. He's having a drink. They've all got mugs of ale. This person's wearing a flower head thing. They're all happy and celebrating. But then, it can't last forever. This could be a bit clearer. His hand, or it's shaking the black veins, and it's... Oh no, his power's come back. See, he has to control the power, but the power's controlling him, and now he's attacking all the villagers. Fuck, he's got this guy by the head, lifting this guy up, and choking this one. This guy's like, oh fuck, oh my god, peg it, run off. And that's the end. So that bit is that bit there. And that bit is that bit. And then the cover... page 1. But yeah, ewan.com to purchase this. It's like £5 or something. Yeah, I think overall I am happy with that. It's one of those things you sort of you do it and you think, that was good, I guess. And you think back and go, I wasn't that good. But then you give it some time and you look back at it and you go, actually, that's pretty fucking good. I've meant to for some time, and I still might eventually in 2 years or so take a couple of issues of this and paint the covers, like paint Gun Viking in and paint the shit in the background, and like do one or two painted really well and do a couple painted quickly with like leave parts white and just paint a few bits of colour in. I think those would be quite cool, and I could sell them for like £100 each, you know. But yeah, I mean, also considering it was made in 24 hours, this was made in a single day. Like, you know, you couldn't do it. You couldn't fucking do that. I'm better than you. I'm better than all of you because I did it fucking 24 hours. What have you done? What the fuck have you done? So if you recall, before when I did a drawing of Mean Machine, the machine that's mean, don't get him dirty, but keep him clean. He'll play. I said I didn't want to be like too influenced by the obvious like Bisley, Mean Machine, you know, because he creates stuff and is really good, and I didn't want to just see that and then just end up making my own version of that. I want to do my own, and so when it comes to Judge Dredd or Judge Death, which is the one it actually is, I thought I'd do the complete opposite. See, I was going to be like, I'll do the same. Although actually, so I had, you know, have you seen this book? It's this Batman Judge Dredd crossover. It's got these really cool hand-painted comics in it by like Simon Bisley and some other people. Yeah, and so there's his, you know, his Moon Machine. See, I didn't give him the jacket and the Lobo look. I would give him a more sort of like traditional white trash wife beater shirt look. So I thought, you know, I'll go through here, pick out some of Bisley's Judge Deaths and draw them. But I want Judge Death in his, you know, typical attire. But there's really not many great shots of him just being Judge Death. This is quite a cool one, I guess. Because then he dies and he gets vaporized back to, or to wherever. And then when you do see him being like sort of, I don't know, relatively spectacular or whatever, he's in a different outfit. It's not the same. It's not his traditional outfit. And so, like, it's good. You know, we love a Bisley Judge Death. But in terms of reference for drawing Judge Death, it's not the best. So I went to the back, I went to Jim Murray's, and he's got quite a bit of Judge Death being Judge Death. This one especially. I mean, Jim Murray's art is just ridiculously insane as it is. And so I'm using that for reference. See, it's not perfect, but it's, you know, you get the gist of it, don't you? See? So this is his big bloody hand. Literally, his big bloody, literally bloody hand. Which, you know, is going to be a lot of ink to scribble down. So I might not do all of that this episode, but whatevs. And that's why that was that. And that's that. Do you know what sucks about comic books? Is, and this is something I've sort of bitched and moaned about a few times, is just every comic book, even the most basic, just 20-page comic book, on average, if it's done, you know, well by a good artist, has so much art in it. And like, if, for instance, you happen to make a comic book in 24 hours, that's 24 solid hours of just drawing and creating and making this thing. But in general, a comic takes 5 minutes to read. Like, to actually go through a comic takes minutes, barely minutes. And comics are made and sort of publicised as a really kind of a throwaway sort of thing. Just like, yeah, just do the next one, the next one, the next one. There's shelves and shelves and shelves of fucking comics. So, like, how, you know, how can they really be worth anything when there's so many of them? And they just get sort of thrown aside as just another comic or whatever. When, you know, the professionals, especially if they're making like a monthly comic, they spend a month drawing a comic, that you look through in 5 minutes. If you're, I guess a typical comics collector or whatever, which is one of the many reasons I like to really not even read the comic, but just appreciate the fucking art that goes into it, the drawing, the pages and pages and fucking pages of drawing that goes into making every single comic book that exists is just baffling. It's fucking astounding how much work goes into making a single comic book, and they just get tossed aside like they're just another comic. But like, fuck, man, especially as a small business owner like myself, a small lesser known creator, if I spend that long making something, I want people to fucking spend time enjoying it. I don't want it to just be gone in 5 minutes, which I do. It's the era we live in with Instagram and whatever else, instant gratification and social media and all the rest of it. It's just sort of bite-sized pieces of information or whatever. It's just sort of how we live our lives now. But it's a shame that comics are just so fucking throwaway. But like sit down and try and draw 20 pages of drawings. Try and draw a page a day for a week. If we're talking sort of your average 2000 AD strip, 6 pages a week, try and do that. Try and sit down and draw 6 pages, which would, potentially, ostensibly, be publishable, be good enough to print in a professional comic. Sit down and try and do that, and that shit's like, it's fucking hard, man. That's why I can only, at best, I've only been able to put out like 1 issue of Gun Viking a year, and sometimes not even that. Sometimes it takes far longer, or maybe I can do more than 1 if I do them in 24 fucking hours. Also, this isn't the intention, but a little bit of that is like, I'd hoped people would be into the 24-hour Gun Viking more than they were, because I thought like if I could do that maybe as a semi-regular thing, and you may have already heard me go on and on about this, but it was sort of kind of part of the original plan, was if I do a 24-hour comic and it comes out well and I sell enough copies, then if I do one of those a month, like let's spend 1 day a month drawing a comic, then that's like most of, if I can sell enough copies to be most of the money I need to make that month, then that could be a solid like business idea. But I did the first one and it didn't really sell many copies, especially not in such a time frame that would be useful in that respect. And again, as always, money isn't the point, but that was just my thinking at the time, was if I can sell X amount of copies, then this could be a legitimate thing to do regularly. But it didn't pan out that way. And maybe that's where part of my sort of resentment of my own comic came from. When I thought back to the 24-hour comic, I was like, ugh, this sucks, this is shit, because I felt like no one wanted it. Even though, I know that's not the case. People are still ordering it to this day. It's still available at ewanagain.com. And now I'm, actually back to shipping out orders. So if you did buy one, you might actually get it. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? When Mr. Man originally, sent me all those really fun voice messages on Instagram telling me to draw Judge Dredd and Death, what he wanted was Judge Death, but with big tits. Which this obviously isn't. And I was debating, like, do I want to be that silly with it? Because, like, I'll draw tits and shit and dicks and all the rest of it. Do all kinds of nonsense. I'm a jack of all trades. And also a master of all. Just see, because the quote is "Jack of all trades, master of none." So you're not a master at anything, but you're good at a bunch of stuff, but you're not really good at a single thing. Whereas I am quite good at a bunch of stuff, and I'm also really, really fucking good at a whole bunch of stuff because I'm just that good. So, but I was, when it comes, I'm quite traditional. I have these traditional ideas in my head. Like Judge Death should be Judge Death. I wouldn't, for instance, want to do like a parody, like, oh, what if it was Kermit the Frog as Judge Death? Wouldn't that be fucking funny? I mean, it might be quite funny, but that's not something I'd want to do because I want to keep Judge Death as Judge Death. There's no reason for there to be that kind of weird comical crossover. So when it comes to the idea of drawing Judge Death with titties, I'm a little bit like, I don't know, it's not really what I'm sort of going for, I guess. But I was thinking about it, and I might be able to get some kind of amusing drawing out of it, so I might see if I can make it work. Maybe, anyway. So, well, what I want to do is... that could work there, and then like that, and then these are hands, yeah. Arms. See, he's got big tits and he's like squeezing them. That's what I'm going for here, is big tits being squeezed by Judge Death's claws. Oh, they're not as squishy as I'd want them to be. I need to draw them squishier, being squishy squashed. Like really, really squishy squashed. Nipples, I guess. I don't know. Not one of my finest pieces, obviously, but bear in mind the amount of time put into it. Does he wear, like, does he have... No, just his suit. I was wondering if he had, like, gauntlets or, like, wrist bands or wrist guards or anything. But he doesn't, so fucking whatever. Shoulder pad, shoulder pad. Really, shoulder pad. Rib cage and his tummy. Belt. So, I mean, that was drawn in what, 2 minutes? I could do better if I gave it more time. If I gave it the time it truly deserved. Because a drawing of Judge Death, not just having, but squeezing big bulbous tits, clearly deserves a lot of time and attention. Which I've not given it, and I regret that. There you go, another deathbed regret. I regret not spending more time drawing Judge Death with big honking boobs. Dead. Deservedly dead. I'll die, and then I'll be expecting the white gates, St. Peter, and all the rest of it, and I'll realise, oh no, I've gone to hell. What happened? And they'll be like, I don't know, the introductory guy, the guy explaining, where to go and what's what, how the system works. They'll be like, oh, hello there, you've made it. You made it to hell. You've died and gone to hell. So here's your itinerary for the next few millennia. We switch it up every 1,000 years or so. So this is the next couple of 1,000 years. And so, get used to it. I won't say enjoy your stay because, there's hell. And I'll be like, well, okay, that's fine. I'll get into it all. But can I just ask, what exactly? Why did I go here and not somewhere else, for instance? And the guy will say, oh, yeah, no, we get asked that quite a lot, as you can imagine. Some people, they come down here and they go, yeah, fair enough. Some people, a lot of white people come down here and go, what? This is outrageous. How dare you put me here? I'm white and rich. I deserve to be in heaven. I spent my life praising Christ and all the Yeah, but, you were pro slavery and you did call gay people fags, so tough shit. Turns out trans lives do matter, you fuck, so now you're in hell, cunt. What's that, you believed in Christ? Well, that was your first mistake, idiot. And then, so they'll say, oh, yeah, so, okay, so basically, let me look on they'll have like a clipboard with, sheets and stuff on it. Or they'll probably have an iPad or whatever they use. And they'll swipe through that iPad and go like, you're Ewan McGregor? No, he hasn't died yet. McLaughlin, is that you? Ewan McLaughlin? It's pronounced McLaughlin, but yeah, that's me. Oh, okay, Ewan McLaughlin. It was the Judge Death with tits. Yeah, that's why you're here. Yeah, that's it. It says Judge Death with tits drawing. I assume you drew a picture of Judge Death with big, massive honkers. Yeah, that's what it was. That's what got you here. You are in hell now because you did that one drawing of Judge Death with massive gazongas. I assume he was squeezing them because, why wouldn't you if you had them? And then I'd be like, oh, but it was this request by this guy, and he left me a load of voice messages on Instagram. See, I don't mind voice messages on Instagram. I'll go into this whole thing. But then the hell man will be like, listen, I appreciate that there's context in everything, Oh, I didn't mean to murder the baby, but it just fits so perfectly in the microwave. Well, how could I not? I understand context is meaningful, but in this case, you're already dead. You're already in hell. So however much you want to protest it and explain it away, it's sort of falling on deaf ears. You're here now, and that's that. You just have to sort of, well, I won't say live with it, because, you are dead. Sorry. A little bit of hell humour there. So, like I say, here's your itinerary, get used to it. You don't have a bedroom because it's hell. You share a space with a lot of people because it's hell. So that's that. And that will be me for eternity because I drew this fucking picture of... well, I mean, maybe the main reason I'll go to hell rather than heaven, as I really should, is because I didn't spend enough time doing it. Rendering that whole bit I just did pointless. Because I didn't go to hell for the drawing itself. I went to hell because I didn't spend enough time making the drawing as perfect as it could have been. That was my mortal sin. Was rushing and not devoting myself to the cause of Judge Death with big tits. Doesn't even look, you can't even tell that his fingers are fingers because I've drawn them so poorly. All that, the nipples and nipples. I mean, in the viewfinder, it doesn't look too bad. I meant to do this earlier, but I guess we'll do it now. Here's the candy of the week. We've got jelly men. Jelly men. Jelly men. These are tasty. They're very, very yummy. Yummy little jelly men. Nom, 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 nom. I actually really like this. It's quite a fun spread, actually. Nom, 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 nom. I will scribble the ink in all of this eventually, but because this hand, as you can see, it's largely in shadow, so it's just going to take quite a long time to black all of that out. Maybe I'll live stream me scribbling black ink for 2.5 hours. See how many fucking views I get. You may see a push in coming days and weeks for me to publicise my Patreon a bit more, because I really am hoping I can get it to grow in some kind of way. I have a huge love and appreciation for the people who are already signed up and have been signed up for years in some cases, and the money that has come to me from Patreon has honestly saved me in ways I could go into but won't, but has really genuine as honest and 100% genuine as I can be, has truly helped me in enormous ways, the money that comes from Patreon. Sometimes it's just money for food for a month, like I can just definitely afford to eat this month or a month, any given month, because of the money that is in Patreon. But there's been times where I've sort of kind of not really thought about it and forgotten the money that's in Patreon, and as such it's sort of built up into a larger sum of money. And then there's been times where I've really been like desperate for cash, and then I think of Patreon and I go to check, and there's a considerably large sum of money waiting for me that I just haven't been paying attention to, and that has like I say, saved me a few times in a few different ways. So a deep, sincere and heartfelt thank you to everyone who has been and does and continues to subscribe to my Patreon, because it's a massive help. And the videos on YouTube, yeah, sure, they're not as huge and big and pulling in thousands of views like, you know, I kind of hope they might, as everyone does. Anyone who makes shit wants as many people to see it as possible, and it would be lovely to you know, make money doing these videos. However, it's not quite the case, and Patreon isn't paying all of my bills or anything, but it's still massively helpful. So the fact that that's a thing in my life is something I'm very grateful for. Not to get too wishy-washy. Do you know what might be fun? Is if let's get all the best flavours. Oh, that's pineapple. That's blackcurrant. Oh, they're stuck together, so we'll have 2 strawberry. I guess they're strawberry. Does it say the list of flavours, or do we just sort of? No, you just got to assume. I think the green ones are lime, which is okay, but I prefer when the green ones are apples. Apples, when they're full apples. I prefer apple flavour to lime. Lime sort of like all right. I don't mind a lime cordial, you know. A lemon cake, a lime cordial, cool. Lemon and lime candies, not so much. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw these in my mouth, take a sip of my whiskey, and see what that does. Chew them up a bit, get the flavours in there. And then I go there. I mean, it's not terrible. Well, actually, in fact, you get the initial of the whiskey, which makes you go, I'm gonna die. But then the aftertaste is really, really nice. The aftertaste of that whiskey in particular is okay. It's not amazing, you know. It tastes like pure alcohol, fucking ethanol or whatever the fuck else. But the aftertaste with a mouthful of candy. Maybe I'll have to try it with cum. I'll have to have a mouthful of cum. How does this whiskey taste with a mouthful of cum? Maybe that can be a video series. Whiskey with a mouthful of blank. And then see how that goes. I'm thinking that at some point, I mean, next week, I don't want to, any spoilers or anything, or blow anything out of the water. But I believe this current episode that you're watching is episode 199, making next week's episode 200, and I feel like I should do something for that. One idea I had for a video at some point was to do the hot ones, hot sauce wings eating thing, and I am white when it comes to hot sauces. I am white. I am very pale with regards to my tolerance of hot sauces. But I've got like sriracha, and there are a couple of hot sauces that are easy enough for me to get hold of, just in the shops and stuff. So I thought it could be fun to do like chicken nuggets or chicken dippers or something. Maybe not wings, but just something more palatable to my childish white palate. And then have different degrees of hot sauces on them while drawing and talking about whatever, like an artist hot ones challenge kind of thing. So maybe that could be cool for the 200th episode. Let me know in the comments what you think, if that would be remotely fun or interesting to watch. It may not be. Maybe like 10 minutes of like eating bits of chicken and going, it's alright, it's a bit hot, but I manage. And then drawing whatever the fuck I'm drawing. I've got some commissions and things to work on. Also, I hope you're enjoying the my new series of Monday commissions. I will be doing a few real-time ones. At the moment, it's all just like sort of 5 to 10 minutes of commentary on paintings and things as I do them, which I'm sure is good and useful and whatever. But I will do a few full-time live ones that will actually be an hour or so, explaining the painting as I do them. So I hope you're enjoying that. I hope you're all good. I hope you get wood, and I hope you have somewhere to stick that wood.